Hello and welcome to 7 for 12 with me, Steve HARMISON and Jon Norman. We've seen a fantastic game of cricket and a great atmosphere from Old Trafford. The decider, England versus Pakistan. Please remember to like and subscribe. Jon, another fantastic atmosphere at Old Trafford. The noise was deafening through my TV. What was it like out there?
It was deafening. It was deafening here. I mean, it's a brilliant vantage point here at Old Trafford, and I can't really show you. It's a bit difficult to explain, but essentially, I'm looking out towards the crowd. But there's also a big window to what it would be the right of me, and I can see all along two tiers of one of the stands, and it is packed to the rafters. And the reason people like to sit there, and there's always a lot of opposition fans, is down below me is where the opposition teams sit, and they sit out on the balcony. So if you're sitting just to the right, you can actually see the team. You can talk to them. You can shout at them. You can blow the vuvuzelas at them. So absolutely terrific. Terrific. My cabbie on the way here was saying to me, "Oh, do you think I could just rock up and get a ticket?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a big crowd. It's a big ground. I'm sure you'll be able to." I don't think you could, I think it was a complete sellout again. And nobody was leaving. It's nearly 10 o'clock at night when this game finally finished. Nobody was leaving. Doesn't matter what age you were. It was just terrific. It's been a really, really heartening T20 series. The crowds have been back. This is the biggest crowd for a sporting event in Manchester for a year and a half. And it's just rejuvenated. It's just rejuvenated the sport, me, everything. It's just been absolutely brilliant. And we were treated again. Look, it wasn't a classic. Only really one batsman shone for Pakistan. They had another chance to win the game, to set the game up, and they didn't really take it. Mohammad Rizwan, top scoring was 76. They kind of huffed and puffed a bit. England were brilliant with the ball. I mean, I thought I had a Rashid. We'll talk about him a bit later, but he's got to be the first name on the team sheet. Forget all the Roys and the Livingstones and the Stokes and the Butlers. It's Rashid. And then when England came out to bat, Jason Roy played some superb shots. He picked his foe brilliantly well, targeted the leggy Kadir, who was playing in his first match, hit him for 4 fours in an over. And then when he went, England kind of stuttered a bit. David Milan, 31 from 33, I think it was. And then it was left Owen Morgan to hit a couple of big sixes. And it all got a bit messy towards the end, but essentially England were relatively comfortable. And they ran out 3-wicket winners. But, I mean, from your vantage point at Ashington, what was the top line that came out of this match tonight?
For me, it was the contest on the surface. We go into a World T20 as one of the favourites. We go in as a team that are expected to not just to get to the final, but expected to win alongside India. And we played on a surface that is going to be it's closer to what we're going to get in the UAE, even though I'm not sure it's going to spin as much as what it would do in the UAE than what we normally have at, say, Trent Bridge. Trent Bridge was a run fest. It was a bounded fest. It was a stand and deliver. I'm going to smack it out the ground. Where this one was a little bit, you had to think. You mentioned Jason Roy. That, for me, that's the most impressed I've been with Jason Roy in an England shirt for a long, long time. I thought that kid did that tonight was brilliant. He realised he couldn't hit it down the ground, his normal, natural game. He went to the sweep. He went to the reverse sweep. There was a lot of, and you've got to remember as well, there's a lot of being questioned on Jason Roy playing against spin. And I thought he was magnificent tonight.
Yeah,
I think
good point.
That was a great sign, England going forward. And there were some dicey moments in that middle section when you're trying to get over the line. But England, again, found a way to get over the line. Unbelievable trait for a side. If you can win when things aren't going as well in that middle period. I think they were always ahead of the game, but there was a sign where Pakistan just came back into the game. Good signs from Pakistan. I think their batting order is horribly in the wrong order. I think Fakhar Zaman has got to bat in the first two. Al-Razam at 3, I think, gives them a little bit more flexibility. But for me, just looking at England, I think they're there. They know Morgan knows his side. Morgan knows his squad. There's probably a seamer, 4 seamers to go into one place if we have to pick 15. And it's which spinner, which is our backup spinner. But I think throughout this game, I think we've seen throughout this series, in this game especially, Liam Livingstone faced one ball, and it made me realise that this is exactly how I want it. Steve HARMISON wants my 11 now to be Ben Stokes at 3.
Hang on. I asked you for one top line. You've just done 7 for 12 before even doing 7 for 12. Don't give me your Liam Livingstone line just yet.
John, the series was brilliant. The series was brilliant.
It has been brilliant. You're absolutely right. We can agree on that. Well, look, let's get to 7 for 12, and we're going to do well to condense things into 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Right, I'm going to be strict today because we've completely forgotten about the rules of this section.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jason Roy. Like, I tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Jason Roy. We're going to talk about Adil Rashid. We're going to talk about Pakistan's batting order. But let's start with Jason Roy because, you know, you're absolutely right. He has been kind of held up as this guy that's a little bit susceptible to spin. But what we saw today, there was a maturity about his innings. Explain exactly what you mean by that.
Well, the maturity about it was in the first over, Imad bowled a beautiful over. It wasn't Imad, he bowled a beautiful over. And normally, Jason Roy looks to hit it big, powerful down the ground. I think being on the field for the first innings, he's realised that hitting the ball down the ground is going to be difficult on this sort of surface, especially the size of the boundaries at the Emirates Old Trafford. So he's gone for a couple down the ground. He hit one through sort of, wide-ish extra cover, got a couple of singles in that first over, assessed where he was going. But then all of a sudden he got it. The shot that got him going for me was his first scoring shot, first boundary off Afridi. It was on the up. He hit the top of the bounds. He hit it for 4. And straight away I was like, wow, this is, he looked good. And then Hassan Ali bowled a ball. And for me, this is his shot. It's the best shot he's played in a long time. He hit the ball straight back down past him on the up.
Yeah.
Passed sort of wide mid off. And that is a sign of a player in touch, because what you did there, and it's a great example for any young cricketer watching, that if you can bowl your best ball as a batsman, the bowler bowls his best ball, because that ball would have hit just over the top of off stump, and you get driven straight back past you for 4 as a batsman. That's hitting his best ball for 4. You're putting a sign to the bowler, no matter what you bowl, you can bowl your best ball at me. I've just hit you straight back past you for 4. But you're also saying to the fielders, and the fielders are looking, they're going, wow, what shot that was. This guy's got a bit of touch. And I think straight away he put them on the back foot. And then when it came to the spin, which is not his forte, I thought he used his head. He didn't go down the ground. He didn't come out of his crease. He stood there and he waited for the ball. He hit the ball at the top of his bounce, sweep, reverse sweep. I thought it was a very, very good innings and a mature innings for Jason Roy.
Yeah, what you may not have picked up as well is that fielder that he hit the ball past was perhaps, 10 yards, and he managed to run maybe 3 steps before the ball went past him. And the bowler was frustrated at the fielder, but such was the timing of the shot, the fielder couldn't get anywhere near it. So, I thought that was sublime. I also thought...
the bowler was frustrated because that was his best ball.
Yeah.
He's bowled a good ball and he's frustrated because he's hit a good ball's gone straight back past him for 4. I think that was more frustration than actually the fielder not stopping it.
Yeah, absolutely. Adil Rashid, I mean, Matt Parkinson, I thought I've been really pleased to see Matt Parkinson. I think he took, what did he take? He took 1 for 25 from his 4 in the second T20. Didn't play today, but Adil Rashid, 2 for 30 at Headingley and 4 for today. And alongside Moeen Ali, those two, they just buzz off each other, don't they? I know that Ali only took the 1 wicket, but he went for 19. I thought Ali he bowled beautifully well. And England are blessed to have those two within their ranks, especially when you consider that, both can bat as well. Yeah,
and again, Rashid, he's been around for a long time, Adil. He's played a lot of cricket, white ball cricket for England. You can understand why they want him. They've talked about him trying to get him in a position to play test match cricket. I don't think that is the right thing. I think he's flourishing off just playing the shorter format of the game. He's a brilliant character. He has been around a long time because I played alongside Adil Rashid. So that tells you how long he's been around. He is a great character. He showed his enthusiasm for the game. He bounced to the crease. He was trying all the tricks he's got. And England 11 overs in this game, 5 for 70, 5 for 75. It showed you what the wicket was like. And if you've got a wicket that's turning, not sure you want too many better, though. There are too many better spin options than Rashid and Ali together. I think they're a great combination. And just a little sample of Mo and Ali batting and getting a score at Edgbaston, I think it was. I think that helped his bowling. So, there was a lot of talk on TV, if you were watching. Stuart Broad made a great point. When you're an all-rounder, if you contribute with the bat, the ball tends to follow. Or if you contribute with the ball, the bat tends to follow. It's a confidence thing with these all-rounders. And Mo and Ali looks as though he's got a nice little loop on it, and he bowls well. And when he does that, he contains. He makes it very difficult to score off. And when you've got Rashid bowling, leg spinner, top spinner, and googly, all of a sudden, if one end's not going for many runs, you've got to try and have a go at the leg spinner. And there was 2 wickets today he bowled. They looked as though they were half trackers. They were meant to be short balls because the size, dimension of this field at Old Trafford, and it's a big hit. They couldn't get over the boundary, and he picked up a couple of wickets. I thought Rashid was brilliant.
Has David Milan battered himself out of this team? That 31 from 33 was not really what England needed at the time. And okay, if he's at the end hitting the winning run, smoking the ball through the covers, but he didn't. He got out. And again, with the emergence of Liam Livingstone, who's just been named Player of the Series, we're still in this kind of weird situation with Milan, aren't we?
We are again. We're looking at. He seems to be the sort of villain of the piece for England. He's the world ranked T20 player with the best numbers going, and he's got phenomenal numbers. But I think you might be right. Did he bat himself into a hole? If he sees his team through, it's a great innings because he got the team over the line, did his job. He got out these sort of surfaces that we're going to play on. They're not suiting him. He likes the pace on the ball, goes in number 3. And when he was in the Caribbean, when he got in South Africa, and if he went to Australia and played on these sort of surfaces, free-willing and scoring and hitting the ball square of the wicket. But I just think with Liam Livingstone emerging the way he has done, hit the first ball for 6 the way he did on a massive field. I've been championing Ben Stokes at number 3 for a long time. With Butler number 1 and Roy number 2 and Stokes at number 3. I think Liam Livingstone has just got himself in at number 6, and it might be a shootout between Bairstow and Milan for that number 4 spot, with Owen Morgan at number 5. I think that will be the conundrum that England have got at the minute. We're talking about things, and it's not a negative. The problem is we've got 24 players we could pick from, and not one of them is a negative if they don't get in the squad, because this is how good this right ball side is. We are talking about potentially leaving out the world's number 1 ranked 2020 player. But the way that dynamics of that side is, he might be just fighting with Johnny Bairstow for that number 3, number 4 spot.
Okay, that's 7 for 12. Let's get a few of those moments of the match. Well, there were some huge moments of the match. Liam Livingstone coming in just at the fall of David Milan's wicket, and England needed 12 from 8 balls, I think, something like that. And he just halved it, halved the deficit in one shot. And then the very next ball, he goes to try and seal it in style and gets a thick outside edge, which flies to short third man, and the wicket goes. It's like, what am I watching here? The game is inventing itself every delivery at the moment.
It was, that for me was the moment. That was the moment that I realised that, yes, this kid is not only on a plane, he's actually in my team. He goes in at number 6. We need somebody, that Stokes role that they're trying to invent for Ben Stokes, which is to go in and hit the first ball for 6. I don't think that's Ben. I think Ben needs a couple of balls to get himself going. I think Livingstone can fulfill that role, which means Stokes goes higher up the order because you need him as an all-round package, batting, bowling and fielding. So for me, I think that ball there told me that Ben Stokes goes further up the order, which I've wanted for a long time. And we've now potentially found somebody that can come in from ball 1 and hit the ball out the ground for 6. It was and I mean, we've talked about how big the ground is at the Emirates Old Trafford. He hit this thing 15 rows back. That didn't just go over the boundary. That went miles over the boundary. So that, for me, was the moment of the day.
I mean, moment of the day was obviously, Jill saying, yes, I will marry you to Phil.
Oh, definitely.
There was a proposal just over there. So congratulations to Phil and Jill, who I'm led to believe are quite big names in the Lancashire county cricket scene. But there were some other moments, wasn't there? We've seen this from Pakistan in the past. We saw it again today. The fielding, if they would have won the third ODI at Edgbaston if it wasn't for their horrendous fielding. They dropped Stokes twice, Gregory. They dropped Gregory when he was on 10 and he went on to basically win the match at 77. Well, it let them down again today, Kind of been here before with Pakistan. You can't. A game with such fine margins, and when you're coming up against a crack unit like this one in England, can't afford to field like that.
No, you can't. You can't afford to give England an edge. And I think Pakistan to give England an edge in the field. I think the second ODI, I think even the first ODI, their ground fielding wasn't great. Their catching was good. They took some good catches. Afridi took a couple of good catches. They took a couple of good high catches.
Yeah.
And even in this game, Babar Azam took a good catch running in. But the fine margins in 2020, especially when you play against the big sides, is huge. And if you drop catches the way Pakistan have done over the course of these last 6 games, you're going to get punished. And if you're playing against the big boys, you're going to get punished, very badly. And I think that they got punished badly. It's the sign of the times of Pakistan cricket for a number of years, where talk about inconsistency with their play. They're very, very inconsistent in their fielding, and that was a lot of frustration on the pitch today. There was a lot of bowlers teapotted it, throwing things into the dirt, and even when Babar Azam caught that first catch, I think off Joss Butler, he threw the ball into the ground in frustration.
Yeah, he did.
Has to say, come on, guys, wake up, because there was a couple of times. Even Rizwan behind the stumps just turned around. John, I helped with the under-13s at Ashington and see the kids play, even at Northumberland County level. Rizwan's looking behind him and going, who's backing up? Who is backing me up if this throw goes along the floor, hits a football and misses? While the rest of the players are standing looking into the crowd. Possibly the crowd didn't help the atmosphere. Maybe he's got to a few of the players. But there was even simple, basic things of backing up weren't there for Pakistan tonight. They looked like sometimes they normally do, a little bit of a shambles in the field.
And then if you ever look at their batting, I mean, Rizwan was their standout player, really. He hit 60-odd in the first T20, 30-odd in the second, and 70-odd today. Babar Azam, we saw, he's Babar Azam. But apart from that, Zaman's wasted wherever he's coming in. Hafiz hasn't really done it. Maqsood hasn't really done it. They tried Azam Khan for a couple. He, didn't really get an opportunity. Whereas with England, you're looking at this team thinking, wow, you've got like 3 absolute guns to still come in. Stokes isn't playing. Archer's not playing. Wood's not playing. For Pakistan, you're thinking, well, you haven't really got anyone coming into this batting order, and you're going to be stronger in UAE conditions for sure. I like Hafiz. I think I do like Hafiz. I think you stick with him, but kind of looks a little bit all over the place. The bowling looks stronger than the batting, although it's just a middle order basically, and that's why having Fakhar Zaman coming in at 4 or 5 makes absolutely no sense, because he should be coming in alongside Rizwan, with Babar coming in at 3. Surely we mentioned this for 7 for 12 last time around, but it just feels very, very disjointed. And when your field is letting you drop in 2 catches a game as well, you're not going to win many games of T20 cricket.
No, you're not. I think the one thing about Pakistan, the inconsistency of this series, there's a side in there I wouldn't want to bump in the semi-final in a knockout stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
there's a Trent Bridge game in them. Things go their way. Yeah. I think their bowl and attack with their spinners in the World T20 in the conditions that are going to be, they're going to be a challenge. You got Mohammad Hasnain, didn't even bowl. He batted at number 11 and didn't even bowl. He fell over twice when he was going for the ball. He's had an interesting day today. I think that kid is a fantastic death bowler. He's a good bowler. I think him on alongside Afridi and
Afridi only bowled one over today.
He only bowled one over, so one or two overs, and then you've got the spinners. This bowling unit is a unit, and I think it's a good unit that will compete. I just think the batting order's all wrong. I think Fakizaman's got to go in first. He's a power player batsman. He's a bit like Roy. He's a power player batsman. He hits the ball in the air. He hits the ball into over the 30-yard circle. He's a power player. Where I think this was a little for me. Little question mark on from a selection point of view of why Babar Azam goes in first was you could see he wanted to get on with it. You could see he was trying to get on with it, a little bit like Joss Buttler, but it just wasn't happening for him. And he's one of the world's greatest batsmen. And I think if he comes in at number 3, there's a little bit less pressure off him. He will catch the scoring rate up as he goes along. I don't think Babar Azam needs the power play to hit boundaries. He's a technically beautiful batsman who hits the ball wide of mid-on. So hits the ball straight down the ground. Wide of mid-on and mid-off. He hits the ball wide of extra cover and mid-wicket with ease, just with touch and talent, a little bit like Virat Kohli. And I think he doesn't need the power play to, it helps, but he doesn't always need the power play to hit boundaries. But I think with Fakizaman going in first with Rizwan, I think that works. That for me would work. And then your order just goes down one. Maksud goes down one. I know you like Hafiz. Hafiz is 40-year-old.
In UAE.
In the UAE. Yes, possibly, yes. I think there are batsmen short. I think they could do with a batsman at number 5, the powerhouse batsman at number 5 that could go in a little bit like a Livingstone type that can hit the ball over the rope.
We're giving one of ours.
I don't see much power in there. I don't see much power in there. So for me, that's the way I see Pakistan. But what I will say, there's a side there. There's a side I would not want to bump in the semi-final on a spin-friendly conditions if they win the toss and they manage to get a score on the board, because they've got a bowling attack for me that can compete with the rest of the world.
Okay, well, we saw that in Champions Trophy, didn't we, in 2017 when they knocked England out at the semi-final stage. Right, coming towards the end of the show, let's get a tip, a Harmies tip. One of the things that's really come from this series is the crowd, the pressure. The pressure's been back on the players in a way that we didn't see, and I suppose it's a little reminder. It's one thing to get those birdies and par scores when you're playing round of golf on your own, but once you get a crowd around you, suddenly you're very much aware of everything you're doing, and that's exactly the same in cricket. And we saw those that kind of wobbled today and in this series, and those that rose to the occasion.
Yeah, and this is the biggest pressure that you'll ever face. The pressure that you have with ball in hand, running up and producing your skills. You do that every single day. That's what you have nets for. That's what you have practice for. You can't practice in front of a crowd. You don't get the crowd pressure until you actually get into
like
the
penalties, isn't it? Penalties in it.
Penalties.
Practice your penalty shootouts all you like, but when you've got that ball and you're walking towards the penalty spot,
the goal gets smaller. The top
the goalkeeper's like that.
Exactly. Donnarumma, Italy's goalkeeper's a big lad, but when he's crowd around you, it is the big pressure. And I look at this series. There's been times where I think pressure has got to some of the players. I think the catching from the Pakistan's point of view, the pressure on England. I think in this game, when Jason Roy got out, I think there was a lot of crowd pressure. There was a lot of oohs and ahs when it comes from England, and a lot of the vuvuzelas going when Pakistan, because they bring a great noise and colour to any game. Ridiculous, and it's fantastic how good it is. And I think that then plays on the mind. The Spanish waiter, I've always called it the Spanish waiter on your shoulder, that tells you can do one thing, but by the time you come to do it, you're a split second off, you hit the ball up in the air, and the game's and your game's gone. That person in international cricket is the hardest person to get out of your head. And I think when the crowd's there, it is doubly hard. And I think that has been a little bit of evidence of that throughout these 3-match series. And I think that going forward, the more people coming in, the better the entertainment has been. And the crowd's been fantastic. That's been the biggest plus point for me in this 3-match series. I think the noise, the colour,
Brilliant,
the enthusiasm has been fantastic, and that for me is why we love the game of cricket played by the nations that are played, because we all bring something different, and I think that for me is why we love this great game. But playing in front of an empty stadium is one thing. Playing in front of a crowd is the difference between the good and the great.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we need to celebrate about our country as well. You know, all those people, or most of the people here supporting Pakistan are English. You know, they've come and they've made their home in our country, and it's become their country. If they want to support Pakistan, I don't have a problem with that. And it's actually brought the best out of the English fans as well. The atmosphere has been terrific. So a big thank you to everybody who's come along to this T20 series. It's certainly going to live long in the memory. Now, at the start of the show, I stopped you. We're going to wrap up now. 7 for 12 will be with you following every single day of England's summer. And you've got India to come, by the way. We will be doing exactly the same thing after every test match. But I kind of cut you off, didn't I? So for the listeners and the viewers who are interested, drum roll, Steve Harmison's 11 for that first World T20 game is?
My first 11 for the T20 game is Roy, Butler, Stokes, Bairstow, Morgan, Livingstone, Ali. I've got it written down. I can't remember the other. Sam Curran, number 8, Jofra Archer, Adil Rashid, and Mark Wood. That would be
I swear that's 12.
No, that's 11. That's 11. Yeah, that's 11. Roy Butler, Stokes, Bairstow 4, Morgan 5.
Yeah,
Livingstone 6, Ali 7, Sam Curran 8, and then I've got the 2 fast lads in Archer and Wood, and Adil Rashid. That's my 11. Don't ask me to pick who the other 4 are going to be. Let's go on the 15-man squad, because that would be an absolute lottery.
That's a serious team. Harmy, brilliant stuff. As I made mention, 7 for 12 will be the place to be. But before all that, Thursday, test of time last week. Big thanks to Brad Hogg. If you don't subscribe to his YouTube channel, you should. So please go and do that if you don't. He was a brilliant guest. But we've got even, not a better one, but certainly one on the same level. Rob Key, fantastic interview again. I hope they've bleeped out part of that, by the way. The superb production team. But yeah, that's going to land on Thursday. But for now, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, review. And if you've ever left a comment on 7 for 12, you know that Harmy, oh no, it's that way. Harmy always answers. So leave a comment. But thanks for watching.